Hello everyone and welcome again to Project PFI's YouTube channel. When I was a principal and chief executive officer, one of my biggest challenges was getting to grips with my PFI contracts. And I think my biggest problem was I simply didn't know what I didn't know, and that ignorance was a real problem. So when I retired as chief executive, my motivation for co-founding Project PFI with colleagues was to give help and support to heads and CEOs in three ways. Firstly, we want to be able to save you money because we know that PFI contracts are invariably far too expensive. Secondly, we want to ensure that the investment that is being made in your site and in your building is at the correct level. Too often we find that that isn't the case. And thirdly, we want to help you get back full control of your building. And time and again we hear from heads across the country that it's not possible to get in at a weekend, or it is if you pay an awful lot more money to the contractor, and so on. And so for this week, I thought it would be helpful just to look at some of the typical problems that we find schools face with their PFI contracts across the country, and just look at some of the red flags and how we can help with that. If you find that any of what you're listening to today applies to you, then please do get in touch because we'd love to help you. Now, one of the biggest problems we find with schools is that they don't know how to make best use of the help desk. Now, the help desk and using it properly is the only way that you're going to get your faults rectified efficiently, but also crucially, it's the main way in which you get money back from the contractor for poor performance. So if you're not sure whether or not this is working well enough, or indeed if you are sure that it's not working well enough, then please do get in touch and we can help you with that. Secondly, we often find that people aren't sure whether or not there are enough people from the contractor looking after the building in the so-called hard facilities management or hard FM contract, or indeed whether or not they're overpaying for the service. Now, we're able to compare the cost of this work to the cost of schools across the country. And so if you're not sure whether or not you're paying too much, or whether you've got enough people looking after the day-to-day maintenance and the fabric of the building, get in touch and we'll help you with that. The third area that we often find schools really not quite sure on is the asset management plan and whether or not it's a good one or not. Now, the asset management plan is a scheme that's drawn up between the school and the PFI contractor. And the aim of it is to make sure that the school is kept in tip-top condition, that various parts are replaced whenever needed, and that redecoration is carried out at appropriate times, and so on. But again, what we find all too often is that the asset management plan can focus on those areas which are cheaper and easier to put right than those which perhaps are more important but more expensive. So if you're not sure about the quality of your asset management plan, then do get in touch and we'll help you have a look at it. And linked to this, we often find that schools report faults that, in spite of putting it on the help desk, just aren't rectified properly. So this can be persistent faults with leaks, perhaps from pipes or from roofs, from ceilings and so on. Or perhaps there's a persistent failure or inability to bring a room up to a good temperature in winter, or to cool it down sufficiently in the summer. And if these things aren't put right, then it can lead to rooms or whole areas of a school being unavailable, or just simply very unavailable, or very uncomfortable or unpleasant to use. So again, if this applies to you, get in touch and we will help ensure that the contractor can put this right. And finally, there's the often huge cost of what's known as soft facilities management. And now this includes areas such as caretaking, porterage, grounds and garden maintenance, pest control, and so on. Now, what should happen is that every 5 years a benchmarking exercise should be carried out by the contractor. You should be involved in this. You should know what's happened. It should be a transparent process. And you should be informed of the outcome and possibly areas in which money could be saved. But what we find all too often is that the costs either just stay the same or go up. and that schools haven't been involved in the process, don't really know what's gone on, and that it is anything but transparent. So if you're concerned about your soft facilities management costs, do get in touch. If you're not sure whether or not they represent good value for money or not, then they almost certainly don't. So again, do get in touch, and we can help you to look at how best to make sure you get good value. So that's it for this week. Just to sum up, Project PFI wants to help you save money. We want to make sure that the investment in your building is all that it should be, and we want to help make sure that you are fully in control of your building. If you'd like help with any of this, then please do contact me, andrew@projectpfi.com, so just email me on that email address, or go onto our website, projectpfi.com, and have a look at our audit tool. You can fill that in. It shouldn't take you too long. Give us as much information as you can, and again, we'll get back in touch with you with information as to how we might be able to help you. By all means, subscribe to this YouTube channel. I'm going to be looking at these issues in a little bit more detail, one by one, over the coming weeks. But for now, goodbye, and I hope you have a good week. Thank you.